The Milwaukee Bucks seem to really want Zach LaVine, according to Evan Sideri. We got to break that down. And should the Bulls make a move, well, they're going to have to see this guy quite a bit. Let's talk about all that more in today's episode of the Chicago Bulls Breeze. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago Bulls. Our Bulls fans talk, so make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So a report has come out from Evan Sideri that the Milwaukee Bucks are aggressively pursuing Zach LaVine. Now, he had talked about this before, but it seems like that aggression still remains for this current Milwaukee team. As I tweeted this out earlier today, the Bucks remain in aggressive pursuit of Zach LaVine. Milwaukee is willing to include Chris Middleton and draft compensation in discussions with the Bulls. If LaVine indeed ends up in Milwaukee, it will likely happen with multiple facilitating teams involved. Now, this to me is a very interesting kind of situation because while, yes, the Bucks do still own a 2026 first round pick, and if you can get first round picks in the whole Zach LaVine conversation, I think that you should. I don't know if you guys know this, but from my time doing the Bulls over on the Windy City Breeze, and of course me at Locked On Bulls, I am absolutely not a fan of Chris Middleton or his contract. But the good thing about this is you would only have to deal with that contract probably for one more year. He comes with less money as well. He does have a player option going into this next season, 2025-2026, and then he would be an unrestricted free agent. The draft compensation may in itself be worth it, but in the 2026 draft, see, if it was 2025 draft capital, I'd probably be more interested in this deal. This 2025 draft is incredibly deep, and I think that even with one of those later round picks, you still could get some really solid players. Haven't done a deep dive into 2026 yet. I know there's some really young players that may end up staying another year that could be very interesting coming out of college next year as well. But the problem right now is that 2025 first round pick is not available for the Bucks. I mean, if the pick lands between 5 and 30 right now, it goes to the New Orleans Pelicans. If it lands between 1 and 4, it goes to the Brooklyn Nets. And that's because of how many teams that pick ended up getting traded to before it even ended up getting to the Milwaukee Bucks. So at this point right now, right, like to me, this is not a great situation for multiple reasons, trading Zach LaVine to the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, number one, the Chris Middleton side of this thing. Chris Middleton is he is the most inconsistent player in the NBA. And yes, the averages look good, but when you break down the game by games, the defense is no longer there anymore. He's not giving you the consistent 20 plus points per game. Even when he was giving you 20 plus points per game on his averages, he would have games where he dropped like 35 and you'd be like, oh man, this guy's it. And then he'd have a game where he drops 7 and Giannis is sitting there looking around going, why the heck don't I have a consistent number 2? The entire purpose for going out and adding Dame Lillard to this team. Now, the part that I do find interesting, again, if we could put up the graphic again there, this is he says that multiple teams would have to be involved in facilitating a trade like this. Now, the Middleton thing is 1 year. You're trying to build a young core. I'm fine with having veterans on the team that have kind of been a part of a championship culture, know what winning is like, know what it's like to go out there and have to be somebody who's relied on when you're bringing young pieces in. I would be fine if you've got Chris Middleton on this team, possibly as somebody coming off of the bench. That sounds crazy for somebody making $35 million a year, but the big thing is right now, right, that you're getting draft capital back if you're moving people in these Zach LaVine deals. And it seems like the Milwaukee Bucks are aggressively trying to go out and make a deal that you can't refuse. Now, if that is the case where you're getting back draft capital and draft compensation, that it is worth it for you to deal with the fact that you're going to have Giannis, Zach LaVine, and Dame Lillard all on the same team. By the way, the Milwaukee Bucks, that apron would crush them. That would be very interesting to see how that second apron would hit on them with some of the contracts that they have over there, or if somebody would end up It's not the NFL. You're not restructuring deals. Nah, that second apron is crushing you. The big thing though for me is that the Bucks being in on this deal, I think it just raises the interest level around Zach LaVine, because people aren't, especially in the East, aren't going to want to have the Milwaukee Bucks with that kind of three-man tandem for the foreseeable future. Again, don't know how long Giannis is going to play. He's often talked about, not being a long-term 38, 39-year-old player in the NFL, but there's still a lot of basketball left in that body. And when you look at him, when you look at Dame, and then you're bringing in a young talent like Zach, I think that is exactly what that kind of team needs. They've got the pieces defensively to kind of stem some of the tide there. So that would be very interesting indeed. Also, to make the money match, right, you're going to have to include some other pieces there. Don't know if that would come from another team or if that would come from the Milwaukee Bucks, but it depends on if you can get some young pieces back. Listen, the asking price around the Bulls for just about everybody to this point has been assets and young pieces. This sounds like a deal that could net you something like that, but is it worth it to take the risk? And are you willing to take the risk of making the Milwaukee Bucks a mainstay in this Eastern Conference for years to come? Let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I think it also plays into some of the things that you saw last night, right? Like, you're starting to see some young pieces start to take a step, and really the main piece, right, Modest Buzelis, who just showing some aggression on both ends of the floor, being able to finish, being able to shoot the three ball, adding that to his game, getting more shots up. Seems like he's getting more confidence in himself. And when you start to see things like that, you start to feel better about moving on from certain pieces. You have to have a good evaluation, which the Bulls have not over the past 5 years of Arturas Karnisovas. They just haven't, right? You have to have a good evaluation of the talent that you currently have on the roster and what that talent could be moving forward. We talked about the Giddey trade possibly yesterday and the Bulls turning that down. I don't know if he's a part of your team moving forward or if you're going to overpay. I know some people are enamored with the fact that, listen, he is a young player. There's a lot of basketball still there. He just crossed 1,500 assists last night. Shout out to Josh Giddey for being one of those young pieces that has done that. I don't believe that you're going to pay this man $25 million a year to be a part of the future of your team if you're the Chicago Bulls with what you've seen from him this season. To me, I keep bringing this up, right? The assist to turnover ratio is great, but I need you to have more. If you're not giving me anything defensively, if you're barely giving me anything offensively, I need you to have a 10 plus assist kind of career on a consistent basis. And for all the people to say, well, Pat, why would Josh Giddey be able to average 10 assists when the Bulls are missing shots left and right? Chicago Bulls are 7th in points per game in the NBA. They're a top 10 scoring team in this league. Let's not blame that. The problem with the Bulls is not the offensive side of the ball. The problem with the Bulls is they can't stop me, you, Hayes, and the Breeze crew or C-Dub put together. You know what I mean? Like, they can't stop anybody on the other side. The Breeze crew or the CBC crew. I don't know why I singled out C-Dub there. I don't know. Sorry about that, C-Dub. The Breeze crew or the CBC crew put together. Like, the Bulls defensively are atrocious, and that's been their biggest problem this season. So, when you're evaluating some of those pieces, when I'm evaluating a Josh Giddey, I'm fine with moving on from him for assets. But the point in all of this is when you're starting to see people climb the ladder, when you're starting to see people take more of an assertive role, and I think Modest Buzelis has absolutely taken more of an assertive role here with kind of getting those 6-man minutes without Zach LaVine in the lineup. Hopefully we kind of see that continue and we see that nurtured and nourished Billy Donovan. Don't just go away from him the second a player that you may be getting rid of steps back on the court. I think if you see something like that as a value in a young player, then you need to go all in with that value in a young player. But let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. As always, it's your boy Pat, the designer, back at it again. We'll be covering everything Chicago Bulls here over on the Chicago Bulls Breeze. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review, and make sure to subscribe to us on the main channel as well. We do daily content over on the main channel. If you become a member, you get the Eye of the Storm with me and P Kid. That's over on the Patreon and on the YouTube side for the membership. We got the Morning Breeze with me and Jordan JC. We have so many shows cracking here over at the Breeze Network, man. It's over at Breeze Media, man. So y'all stay safe out there and rock with us with everything that we got going on. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. See Red Nation, stand up. Peace.